Hello, I'm still going on with my state of the school series, and I'm still on botany, and I'm talking now about well, partly about what people would call weeds. There was just more to say than I had time to. One thing in the pig pasture, trees are coming up, and I'm letting them come up, uh, and the pigs. I'm real surprised at what comes up because the pigs leave walnuts, little tiny walnuts, and hickories. They leave them alone. And those are both nut bearing trees. Now, when they get mature and drop their nuts, I mean, the pigs gobble up those nuts when they're in season. Uh, and I do the same. Now, see, if I was going to go through there with machinery, I would have to be trying to go around them. If I ever decide to go back to mowing with the scythe, which I may do, I just mow right around them. It's no problem at all. As a matter of fact, the pasture gradually will become like a savanna in a way. Certainly not, like monoculture pasture, which can be really nice. Now, the one time I'll cut them out is if they're right in line with where I need a contour line for the zonja to be coming along. And the other one that's coming up, a lot of them are coming up, is willow. Pigs won't eat willow. I've almost never at any time of year and no part of it. And so I think about that some. Should I let that happen? But I've been letting it happen. Uh, Now, there's other trees that are invasive, but they're mostly not a problem with the pigs. All right, so I wanted to mention that the trees coming up, which is bringing nutrients from deep in the soil up. That's part of that regenerative farming, really. Uh, Another thing I want to say is the plants, their palatability varies a lot uh, over the year. I mean, there might be a certain plant, a weed, that the pigs won't go near it until after the frost. So it's there all season. But then after the frost, they'll root. There's something at the root that they'll eat. Now, they don't necessarily do that with all of them, but usually there's some time in the year that they're palatable. Sedges are another example. In the very early spring, pigs will eat, they'll graze on Pennsylvania sedge. Later on, you might as well try to feed them rope. They wouldn't touch that. Um, Now, these weeds supply a canopy. They shade the soil. Now, I used to think, and I think a lot of thinking is, oh, those weeds are they're robbing the nutrients out of the soil so nothing else can grow. They're stealing the light and all that. Well, maybe. I don't know. That was dominant thinking. You had to mow them off, so the sun, so the crop you want could be there. Well, we had a tremendous drought. It's still going on. We've had a drought for about 6 months. It's been a bad one. And it also got really hot. And during that time, I was happy, real happy to have the weeds because they kept that soil shaded and it didn't suffer like what had been mowed that they measure scientists measure that soil temperature. It's vastly different, and so that weeds make a canopy. Oh, sometimes as tall as I am, uh, or at least this high, usually more like that. And the pigs go along and they graze in among it, in where it's shady. So I like that effect. Now, of course, people don't understand it. Of course, another thing, the flowers, these weeds, they're often called wildflowers, as they maybe should be. And that's habitat for bees and beauty. When you walk through it, I mean, the beauty of these flowers is something else. But that's different from what people who use fossil fuels to run their machinery and just mow vast areas. Yeah, lawns, the American lawn, what disaster that is. All right, I just want to mention a few of these plants that have their time where they become so dominant. Right now, boneset. I haven't seen evidence of the time of year when the pigs will control bone set. But I've still been letting it go. It tends to like it where it's moist. It's white, and since it likes it where it's moist, I make ground moist. Smartweed, that stuff you can almost see it making soil on the edge of banks when the soil goes from like chocolate pudding when I'm hoeing it to more like chocolate mousse because it's all fluffed up with stuff in there. That's the doing of smartweed. Touch me not, beautiful orange plant. The sedges, they're much more important in this ground than the grasses. I don't want to say more important, but you're much more likely to be looking at a sedge than a grass if you think you're looking at grass. Ragweed. Ragweed's the bane of the existence of a lot of people because of their allergies. Well, pigs eat it, especially when it's young. Ragweed is just not a problem, not with pigs. Jimson weed, that has been coming on very strong, and I've let it go. It's a beautiful, strange-looking thing. It's got a lot of different names. It's poisonous, but nobody or no animals would eat it. Jimson weed. Joe Pye weed, now and then you'll see that. Not so much anymore. And burdock. Pigs won't eat burdock at any point. I don't think. And so I have tended to cut burdock, but gradually it's almost like weeds have their day in the sun, and then they get balanced again. It's an ongoing process, but it's interesting to me. Bye for now.